Hey, what's up, Reece University team? I just wanted to start this off with a big thank you to the Reece team. These Reece University things are just absolutely phenomenal. Both Dawn and Samantha for putting it together. I mean, now's the time to really invest in your mind. Now that we have downtime, you can address all the processes that you guys want to learn. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So what is the ReeceArt Services site? You know, I feel like coming from the distribution side and having a small shop on my own, the artwork was always the sticking point. You know, I never really had a problem with customer retention and finding new customers and word of mouth. What I always struggled with was exacting that idea of what the customer needs and wants. Oftentimes you would have a customer provide their graphic, which is fantastic. And I feel like that's a lot more prevalent nowadays. But I know every shop that I talk to, large or small, always struggles with that customer that doesn't have a design, or they have a design and it's pixelated, it's 72 DPI. They took a picture of a business card on their iPhone and then email it to you guys. Well, we're the solution. We jump on that grenade of difficult art tasks. And what I wanted to do is kind of give you a brief overview of the company history and then how that ties into Reece and how I think it's really going to be beneficial to the team. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide here. ReeceArt Services, what does that mean? So let's go ahead and start at the beginning. The ReeceArt Service side is a fully staffed artwork bureau. We have around 300 employees globally. They specialize in creating artwork for signage, revectorization, digitizing, screen print art, which is a major division, but we really focus on the screen side and the apparel side. We don't really deviate. That's kind of our main objective there. So it really ties into what the Reece product offering is. So whether it be digital printers, whether it be screen printing presses, that's really where we help out and where we've found our niche. So specializing in art for apparel and decorators and sign printers, yeah, it just goes through those four main service types. So sign art, vector art, screen printing art, digitizing. That's where we play. The reason why, I feel like this is really important to focus on and really reiterate. Nothing starts until there's art. You know, I believe the artwork is kind of the nucleus. You know, printers aren't printing unless they have something to print, and everybody has a specific idea of what their brand needs to look like, or really, you know, what identifies them, whether it be a barbecue joint, whether it be, you know, a ton of different options, they need that specific branding. And the cool thing is we can help you with whether it be a custom creation, whether it be taking that logo and blowing it up and making it vector to be put onto a billboard or a big sign. That's really where we play. So I often say art's a roadblock even for the most talented designers. You know, I've been fortunate enough to work with some really amazing designers, and there's not a single one that doesn't get stuck on a task. Or if they're really good, that means they're really expensive. And if they spend, you know, 2.5 hours on a redraw, well, then your business is upside down in the hours that they put in to create that. So having a reliable source to pass that workload off to is, I believe, paramount. And the cool thing is with the ReeceArt Services side, not only is it affordable, it's also quick. You know, customers, I feel like with the Amazon model, everything is time-based. We needed it yesterday. I'm calling you for t-shirts. I'm calling you for a sign because I needed it last week. And it's, you know, that's kind of the what to expect. That's the customers that budget time appropriately are the exception, not the rule. So I feel like having that good, reliable, time-based service is just really, you know, it gives you a leg up on the competition. So cool. Little history lesson on GraphX. We've been around for a very long time. We've been delivering production-ready files since 1984, trusted by thousands of satisfied clients. So what that means, I know that's a pretty bold statement, but what that means is we have a deep bench just with our our process, we're able to process around 2,000 to 3,000 files a day. And I feel like I don't think there's many people that can really do that. So yeah, just that reliability. And then also what that does is that gives our artists a really seasoned, deep bench in terms of knowledge and how to really produce it appropriately. So the last thing we want to do is deliver a file, whether it be going to the sign printer, whether it be going on a screen printing press. The last thing we want to do is deliver a file that has to be edited or ping pong back and forth. So we really try to nail it down, the first go around, which is the key. So around the globe, we've been exclusively servicing the apparel and sign industry. Again, we found that niche. That's really where we like to play. We deviate a little bit in terms of creating artwork for like branding and stuff like that. So we do have that knowledge, but the apparel and sign industry is really where we like to play. So again, we deliver thousands of files per day. Pretty self-explanatory there. So here's a pretty cool diagram on the company history. So founded in 1984, NetEMB and Sunshine. So there was two different divisions. There was a Canadian company called Sunshine Digitizing and then NetEMB. What we did was we went ahead and merged those two, which really created the largest place that you could send digitizing files to. That was in 1990. In 1999, they actually opened up a facility in Thailand, and they would duplicate the files, meaning that the US office just got inundated with work. So we had to obviously, expand, and that's when we went globally because of their opposing hours, meaning that you could send a file at 5 o'clock Central Time, you'd receive a file back by 8 o'clock the next day, which is it's like, I always feel like it's like Christmas opening up a new vector file or a new sign file or a new digitized file. So 1999, that Thai partnership was born. 2011, they started GraphXSource. The deviation there was GraphXSource is the umbrella for digitizing, revectorization, just the whole, that gave it one consistent brand. 2013 acquired Riptide Graphics. Riptide Graphics was primarily in the ASI market, so artwork creation for the people that do, ASI stuff, PPAI. That's kind of really where they found their niche. 2018, we opened up an office in San Pedro Sula, Honduras. The Honduras office primarily focuses on screen printing separations, mock-ups. We also run the queue for a lot of people, meaning that we run people's full art departments out of Honduras, which is absolutely phenomenal. The team down there, we have about 40 people in Honduras, and they really, really do a good job. So we opened up an office in India that's more administration, tech development. So when you log on to the ReeceArt Services website, the cool thing is all of that tech, all of that build out, all that coding is our partners as well. So it's pretty awesome. So yeah. This is actually a really cool slide. So this illustrates how long GraphX has been in the apparel industry. These patches actually went on the Apollo 11 mission, and that's actually a letter from Richard Nixon thanking the Gardner family for that patch. So they started out on the patch manufacturing side, which in turn taught them digitizing. And back in the day, you had to make these big, long digitized tapes. They realized there was a market for people that didn't want to do that in-house because it's such a specialized service, which in turn brought us to handling artwork for the apparel side. So that's kind of a cool little history nugget there. So how we're able to move so quickly. North American sales and support staff at both of our offshore locations. So we feel like communication is key. Anytime you're trying to convey something graphically, we really like to make sure that that is jumped on and then conveyed in the most appropriate manner to the team that we send it out to. So again, just a deep bench globally, which in turn gives us around 22 hours of uptime per day. So wanted to show you some of these offices because we're very proud of them. So this is our Indian office. It essentially looks like a hotel. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful in there. So again, focusing more on administration stuff and really, how to convey that properly. So this is our Thai operation. The Thailand team is extremely good at revectorization, artwork creation, and digitizing and sign files. So that's really their niche, and which again is really beneficial to the people in the central time zone, because you're usually getting that file back next day, which is awesome. So this is one of 5 floors, and you can see they're working on apparel right there. I do believe that was either for Fanatics or something along those lines. So yeah, again, apparel and signage is really, that's what we know. This is our Honduras office. This is really where they focus in and handle the screen printing separation side. So I was, when I owned my business, I felt like the screen printing separation side was really where I got stuck the most. And there was no resources like ReeceArt Services in the past. So I would have to fumble through separations, and they never would come out quite like I was looking for. But the team down there is stunning. They do such a good job, and they can call out your print order, your mesh counts, your mesh selection. I mean, it just, they like to give the ReeceArt service customers a recipe, which is key. 22 hours of uptime per day. The advantage is that globally spread workforce. Little current client list. On Monday, December 22nd, I pulled this slide around noon. We had processed around 1,178 orders. Just kind of goes to show, you know, really the power behind it. So now here's the nuts and bolts, and here's really where I think with the ReeceArt Services, where I think it's going to be most beneficial to you guys. So cut files and transfers for signs. So what that means is not only is our team proficient at creating the artwork for the signage, we can also build it based on your printer cutter. So let's say, you know, you like to have a 1/4-inch bleed, and you know you want to have the cut line follow that bleed. Well, that's precisely, our team knows that verbiage. So when you upload a cut file, we can then follow your parameters. So I feel like that's a major benefit to the Reece side, because yeah, you guys are heavy in the signage side, and again, that's our wheelhouse for sure. So let me give you a little example here. So contour cutting. So this is a good visual. You know, you guys are going to use this for signage, heat transfers as well too. So it's not just the sign side. So we can either build the file to have a contour cut, or we could build it out to where we're actually cutting on the inside. So, you know, I feel like this example right here to the left would be perfect for like a heat transfer, if you're printing on like transfer type material, versus the one on the right would probably be better for a sign or a backlit sign or something along those lines. So again, you know, that's what our team is really good at and really proficient. Yeah, they know the verbiage, and that's really where we play. Vector recreation. I know a lot of the people on this call are probably using a service for this already. There's really no reason, if you're ordering through Reece already, and you have that need for a recreation, now you have a singular conduit for all of those requests. So I was going to show you an example. If I had to recreate something like this, it would take a really, I wouldn't do it because I don't have that skill set. But secondly, that's a lot of time, and that's a lot, you know, whether you use Illustrator, CorelDRAW, Affinity Designer, there's a lot of work that's put into that file. And this is after our team recreated. So the cool thing is we actually build it in wireframe, which I believe is the right way to do it. So when you guys get a file back, it's going to be built appropriately. So we don't take any shortcuts. We have people with Wacom tablets that can build these things from scratch, and it's just, it works. So an example like that would probably be around $35 to be recreated. So it's affordable. That's another aspect of it too. So yeah, you can see how that's pretty incredible what they can do. I actually have a real case study here for you guys. So above is the customer provided art. This was part of a series of old branding for a company in Illinois. So recreating something like this, it requires such a specific skill set. So we got that file above. The file below is what we turned out within 24 hours. The price on that was $33. So And the cool thing is, I believe what that customer did with that vector file is they actually resold it back to the company, meaning that I think he charged the individual customer for the root file around $150. So you could see how this could actually be a good profit center for your guys' business as well. Screen print separations. This is another area where I see a lot of print shops. You know, if you have the printer cutter, if you have the screen printing press, if you have the embroidery machine, they all require a specific file type, and I really believe screen print separations are kind of, they're difficult, and it requires a skill set that not a lot of people have. So with the way that we do things for ReeceArt Services, we actually build out a recipe, meaning that when you get a file delivered, whether it be a Photoshop file or an Illustrator file, it's actually not only the print order, your mesh selections, your mesh recommendations, and then we could even put in there when to flash. So what I always tell my customers is upload, and I know Reece carries quite a bit of different mesh counts. So what I would recommend is downloading those mesh selections that Reece sells. And what you can do is create a profile on the ReeceArt Services side, listing out those mesh counts. So when we provide you a separation back, we can actually play in those specific meshes that Reece sells. So it's again, kind of, we like to build it out as the recipe and give you that file back that is it's going to be ready to rock and roll. So that's the point anyway. So here's a pretty good example. So this was the original provided file from the customer. This is obviously just on the proof. They had the Photoshop file as well. Color separating something like that, it's hard, and it's something that I wouldn't do. I don't have the ability or the know-how to do that. So again, having us as that resource, here's the print order. So the cool thing is we actually call everything out in channels. So when you get that print order back, and this could either be in Illustrator, it could be in Photoshop. If you're a CorelDRAW user, we could actually break out those separations via a PDF as well. So we could deliver that packet as you don't even need a rip half of the time. We have a pre-halftone service on the ReeceArt Services website. So the cool thing is when it comes back in channels, all that you do is you hit print and follow the recipe. You can't really tell here, but we actually call out the Pantones and then mesh selection. So you follow that, flash when we call it out, and this is the actual print. So that's not a Photoshop mock-up. That's actually the physical garment that was printed and a photograph of the actual print. So again, just we try to make it as easy as possible. All right, let's move on to the digitizing side. I believe this is going to be pretty big for Reece in the fact that, you know, they really play in the signage, apparel, screen print market. I know the digitizing is a smaller portion, but again, you know, oftentimes you'll have the printer cutter, the screen printing press, and the embroidery machine, and we're that conduit for all of it. So yeah, let me show you kind of some of the examples here. So digitizing that, for instance, that Flavor Wave IPA, that's a really hard job with all the colors and the trims and all that good stuff. And same thing with the image below that. That's a puff job, and there are specific digitizers that can do puff and that can't do puff, or you know, we only do flats. So our team can actually take on all of those, and yeah, again, we just have such a deep bench on that side of things to where you now have the resource. So yeah, I also wanted to show you, we have a fully stocked, we don't have this on the sign side, we don't have this on the screen printing side, but on the digitizing side, we actually have a fully stocked sampling department, meaning that when you guys place an order through ReeceArt Services, we actually sew it out on a physical garment, whether that be a flat, whether that be a cap, whether that be a knit, and then provide you not only the DST file, but then also a picture of the sew out, which really helps in terms of pre-sale stuff, meaning that the customer wants to see what it's going to look like prior to placing the order. You then have that image to where you could convey that to the customer. So you're not using your thread. We jump on that labor for you. So I just feel like it's another added value. So cool. Here's some examples. This was for a pretty large cap manufacturer in the Midwest. So yeah, where we really shine on the digitizing side is the small text, and really just helping dial in that process, because that's really what separates the good digitizers versus the other people. So yeah, some client testimonials here. I wanted to so Barrel Maker Printing, we've been running their artwork service for around 2 years now. We couldn't imagine running our business. Actually, we're going on 3 years with them. So Barrel Maker Printing staffing, we couldn't imagine running our business without it. Cole Apparel, you guys are crushing it. You have freed up my staff to focus on more pressing tasks. This was the best thing I found at ISS. One thing I wanted to mention there, you know, your graphic designers that you have on staff, whether that be you running the business and then having to do the artwork, or your designers that you have sitting in a seat, their time could be utilized with following up with customers, checking in with proofs. So again, you know, if there's something that's foundational that you know that is not necessarily the best use of their time, we'll go ahead and jump on that. And that frees them up to focus on, you know, pre-sale, post-sale, all that good stuff. So yeah, that was a fun one from the ISS Long Beach. Campus Inc. GraphXSource is artwork insurance for my business. We can rely on a cleared queue by the end of the day, every day. Okay, so the significance of that is, I know oftentimes the artist seat at print shops or sign shops can kind of be a revolving door. So having somebody that you can, and if you have an artist, you know, that's been there for a decade, that's awesome. You found the unicorn. So, you know, that seat can oftentimes change. So again, having somebody that you know you can trust and send files to is, like, I think he summed it up perfectly. That's artwork insurance. So same day teas. First off, I wanted to say thank you for all that you guys do. We love you guys. It's taken so much off our plate. That's awesome. Thank you. So again, you know, those foundational tasks we try to jump on for the team. So yeah. Okay, why this is important to the Reece side. Again, to kind of sum it up, nothing starts until there's art. You know, again, it's the foundational task. You know, pretty straightforward stuff. It's always a bottleneck. Again, the most seasoned designers always get stuck on certain tasks here and there. So yeah, think of us in terms of that as well too. Frees up the art staff. So again, their time can be, I feel like, is best utilized when they're following up, you know, with proofs they've sent customers, or, you know, if there's any revisions, or if that file is ready for the press, it frees them up to focus on those tasks. Value add to current clients. What that means is, let's say, you know, you're dealing with a lawn care business, and you know, the only logo that they have is what they've got on a website, a business card creator, you know, and that's their branding standards. Well, the cool thing is, and they don't have it in a vector file format or a PDF or a JPEG. The cool thing is that's a value add, meaning that you could then take a picture of that business card, send it off to us for revectorization at $18, and then charge them $50 for the root file. So again, you know, it could be a really important value add to that. And most importantly, it's consistent. So I feel like having that reliable source is, again, you know, that's us. So wanted to wrap it up with a call to action. So what do you guys get stuck on the most? Meaning that if you guys, since you guys are a Reece customer, what artwork task that comes up all the time that you get stuck on, that you wish you had a resource for? Yeah, that's the call to action that I want to put out there for you guys. And the last slide here is, well, the second to last slide is private meeting and consulting. What that means is, after that last slide, once you've identified, you know, that art task that really sucks, that you guys don't want to do, and that gets your business stuck, identify that task, and we're here to help. Meaning that the GraphXSource team and the ReeceArt Services team, we're here to identify those tasks and then see how we can eliminate those. So yeah, private meeting and consulting. What I would encourage you guys to do is either screenshot or we can, I know on the YouTube page, there's this slide deck as well. That's our contacts. If there's anything that you guys get stuck on or really need help with, I would encourage you guys to reach out, and we would love to help jump on those foundational tasks for you guys. So without further ado, I know Don can't chime in here because he's I got him on the message board here, but I'm gonna go ahead and open the chat and open up some questions. I wanted to volley this to all the people that are on here to hit us with some questions. So awesome. Okay, so I see one from Derek. Do you guys do custom art if given an explanation of what the company is with no logo provided? Fantastic question, Derek. Absolutely. So that's actually a major growing portion of the ReeceArt Services site. So custom creation is something we absolutely do. So under the Vector Art Order tab, there is a section for conceptual art. The price on conceptual art is $50, which is extremely affordable for an idea. And the cool thing is with that conceptual piece, that $50 includes volleys back and forth, because oftentimes, you know, what the customer gets is not the specific thing that, you know, I feel like it always takes a couple iterations to get to that final result. So that $50 does include a ping pong back and forth to get exactly what that customer wants. So yeah, fantastic question, Derek. Yep, with no logo provided. And I'll actually, I can't share my screen here, but I have a really good example of some custom artwork creation that I can show you guys that we just did for a shop down in Texas. And I think it's the last slide here, so give me a second. I'm just gonna have to show you guys on the little Instagram page there. So, but yeah, some of the stuff that they create down there is awesome. So you can specify whether it's, you know, a custom piece for a sign, a custom piece for a left chest, full back, business card. Yeah, this is a perfect example. So customer provided the verbiage, which was a coronavirus t-shirt. It's for a CrossFit gym. You can't really see it too well, but the verbiage says, "Not together, never apart, CrossFit." So they provided the customer's logo, and then our team created they provided the customer's logo and the copy, and then our team created the layout. So yeah, I feel like for $50, that's a very affordable price for a custom piece of art. So any other questions, team? I see that Wayne's in there, by the way. Mr. Walker, what's happening? All right. If there's no more questions, I think I'm going to conclude. I tried to stick to that 30-minute mark as much as possible, because I think I went way too long on the last one. So no rabbit holes this time. So, okay, Greg, custom sign design. Absolutely, absolutely. So that would be following the same order process. So under that Vector Art Order tab, you're going to go ahead and hit conceptual, and then there's a sub tab for sign art, heat transfer art, sublimation art. So yes, custom design for signs, absolutely. And same pricing models as well. And again, same pricing models, and then also including that volley back and forth to make sure it's the accurate logo. So great question. All right, any other questions, gents? All right. Well, I think I've done pretty. Oh, Chuck, thank you for your time. Currently using another service. Thank you guys. Chuck, I would venture to ask, fabricate aluminum. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And then typically apply like a vinyl to the aluminum. Absolutely. They can create it with the cut lines and all that good stuff. So Chuck, thank you, by the way. I appreciate that. And there's a couple other services out there like Ignition and all that good stuff. I really feel like the advantage with the ReeceArt Services site is just that singular conduit. So, you know, ordering custom signage, custom created artwork, digitizing, screen print SEPs. Yeah, it's I like that singular conduit. So, and our pricing is pretty, you know, oftentimes it's better. So that's another thing. Cool. All right, so that brings us right to the 30-minute mark there. Yeah, any other questions? If not, I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay, I don't see anything else chiming through. So, all right, guys, that was awesome. Thank you. Thanks to Dawn and Samantha. Major shout out as well. We love doing these things and just spreading the word. So, thank you guys. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.